Hey, on this episode of Taskforce Geek, we talk about the upcoming Netflix movie about GameStop stock, of course, and that whole thing that goes along with that. We go to the 25th century to welcome George Clooney to the Buck Rogers franchise. We discuss why Cyberpunk 2077 developers are asking people to stop getting jiggy with Keanu Reeves. And in honor of CaseyJane, we'll be talking about the Royal Rumble, and that's all coming up now. Hey, welcome to Task Force Geek. My name is Dirk Cooper, and today I am joined by Scott.
Howdy!
And Sean.
Yep.
And regular contributor CaseyJane. There
Hi.
she is. Hey, it's been a little while since we've talked to you. What's going on with you, CaseyJane?
Not much. School started back up. Just been super busy. But I have missed you guys.
Well, we've missed you too. The Royal Rumble that we're going to talk about, which was kind of interesting. We're going to talk about it.
Oh, I can't wait.
For you.
I wanted to talk so much
Scott
before we started the show.
Yeah,
I thought I'd
I know.
save it.
We got on about 4 different subjects, and I told CaseyJane, let's just wait for the show. Although now I can't remember what we were talking about.
Don't worry, I do.
Okay. Just bring it up whenever you want to. All right, we're going to go to the first segment. If I can figure out what it's supposed to be, here it comes. All right. Well, Netflix, of course, is in talks to make a film based on the Wall Street GameStop stock kerfuffle. How about that word? According to a report by Deadline, Mark Boal, the writer of Detroit and Triple Frontier, is in negotiations. It's in negotiations to write the unnamed film. The actor behind the teen heartthrob role in many Netflix movies, his name is Noah Centineo. Let's see, will play a major role. No other casting roles have been announced. Note that this project is different from the news that MGM acquired the rights to a not yet written book by Ben Mesrick about the GameStop stock. These are 2 separate films. We're going to have 2 films coming up, folks. You can talk about the silliness that is the GameStop stock situation, or you can talk about the silliness of already having 2 films coming out on it. And to start with that, I'm going first to Sean.
This is normal fare. I remember there were many hot topic news reports where
hey, that's from Twitch. That's awesome.
For example, there was a hello. There was a I believe a woman who murdered her boyfriend. Well, while the court case was still going on, nothing had been determined, nothing had been decided. There was already a movie being filmed about the incident. So as far as a movie going on about this is old hat. This is something that everybody does. Netflix is just jumping on the bandwagon a little earlier than the others could get their hands on it. So there you go.
What's your thoughts on the GameStop gig?
I don't know jack squat about stocks, buying, selling. I don't know anything about any of that stuff. I'm kind of a noob. I'm doing as much reading as I can. I'm doing as much research as I can to get a better idea.
Hey, Walt.
And so far, it seems like, from my perspective, it seems like the little guy just happened upon an interesting little trick of the stock market functions, and they're taking advantage of the rules that have kept kind of the average normal person from becoming a fairly large person.
Right.
So, rock on. Whatever happens, I don't have any money in it, so
you're good with it.
Yeah. Either way. Rock on.
Yeah, it's not going to affect you, buddy.
Rock on, man.
All right, Scott, what do you think, man?
What about the Okay, so first
Well,
the
not
movie
the movie
rights.
first, I guess. Yeah.
Somebody's going to quickly grab up the rights. They do this all the time with like, we talk a lot about like comic movies and stuff, and people grab those rights really quick. So this is no surprise just days later that they grab the rights to this just in case there's a movie, to be made from it. And as far as like, I didn't understand, and I kind of like Sean, I never really got into stocks more, nor do I understand it. I mean, me and you were talking about it on Sunday night, and I said, sounds like we're playing with fake money. And you said, that's basically what's going on. And, but I read the most simplest, like layman's, kind of description on what happened with this incident. And you can go to my Scott Prime Facebook account and scroll down a little bit. And if you wanted to read that, and it explains it very clearly for even somebody like me to understand. And this is the same thing that the rich people do to all the little guys all the time. And the rich don't like people messing with their money because they think they're the only people that can be rich. They're the only people that don't have to wear a mask. They're the only people that can do this and that. And so, like, of course, now they want to make rules,
Hello, Michelle.
And it's pretty ridiculous. It's nice every now and then when Robin Hood and his band of men screw over the rich every now and then. And every now and then life gives us this. But for the most of the time, we're under the rule of the rich. So.
And might I add that a lot of people that are involved, a lot of the little people that are actually making, some gains on this, most of them, because they're not rich, they're not big to-dos, they're donating the money. There was one guy who bought a bunch of Switch
Switches
game deals to donate to a hospital. For children in ICU and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean,
you shared that, I think, on the Taskforce Geek group today on Facebook.
So there's
great story.
There's multiple stories like this happening. I mean, how magnificent is it that when the little guy gets the money, he doesn't hoard it. He needs to share it. He gives it to other people. He's wanting to help everybody around it. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, I think. Well, unfortunately, the news is going to do like research, and they're going to find out that he used an inappropriate word on Twitter about 10 years ago, and then that's going to explode.
Exactly. Cancel culture comes for everyone. You could it's ridiculous.
CaseyJane, what do you think? And by the way, we got a lot of viewers tonight. Is that you that did that? Are people joining in?
I tweeted out the stream. I tweeted out the Twitch.
All right, that's what it is. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So, with the whole movie, I think that'll be interesting. As someone who was kind of part of it, it's interesting. I want to see how they're going to portray that. To be honest, because I'm one of the people that got screwed over when Robin Hood was just like, we're not. So,
right. You were. Oh, please tell me about that.
I invest in stocks.
Okay, no. Tell me, you were using Robin Hood.
Yes.
And so what did you want to do that you couldn't do?
Well, they closed accounts. They weren't letting you, what was it? They weren't letting you sell.
Right.
For a little bit. Granted, I was holding on anyway because I don't quick sell like a lot of other people do.
Right.
I'll give it a few days.
Day traders.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'll give it a few days, but that's always what I've done. Because I don't invest big money into it. It's just like pocket change. It doesn't matter.
Well, that's supposed to be the purpose of Robinhood.
Exactly.
The app for people who are.
Exactly. But I don't know, how are they going to do? Is it going to be a documentary or?
I don't think it's going to be a documentary. I think it's going to be a
docudrama.
It's going to be a drama. Based on that sort of thing.
I don't understand how they're going to do that, though. I'm intrigued. If that were to happen, I mean, yeah.
There was a movie a few years ago that was made about the 2008 the stock market crash that happened, and it was called The Big Short, and it had a bunch of big name actors in it, and it was exceptionally entertaining. But it also went through a lot of different explanations about credit default swaps and all the crazy stuff that was happening with the housing market, and how the government set this sort of stuff up, and how the Wall Street people were creating magical ways of making money that came back to bite them. And that seems like to me exactly precisely what's happening here. The stock market is a rigged game, and it is rigged towards the wealthy folks.
Absolutely.
I was looking up some statistics on the stock market, and 85% of the stocks that are owned by the top 10% of people in this country. So the top 10% wealthiest people own 85% of the stock. They leave 15% of the stock for the rest of us little people. And what happened here over the past week is that the little people all got together and did exactly precisely what all of these hedge funds do every damn day, except they did it against the hedge funds, and they screwed the big guy.
Yeah.
They screwed the rich people. And so for the first time ever, I follow a lot of news. I follow business news as well. For the first time ever, I heard some people in Wall Street go, "We need some regulation. We've never had regulation before. We got to have some." It's like, whoa, wait a minute. You're telling me that the little guys made some money and you guys got it in the shorts, and now all of a sudden you got to be protected? That's absurd. I don't like to talk politics on here, but I think it's very interesting that you have on one side of the aisle Ted Cruz, and another side of the aisle you have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who agree that the open market should allow for this thing to happen. And then you have someone on like Elizabeth Warren, who always talks about standing up for the little guy, and she's talking about an investigation in favor of the hedge funds. So who's really looking out for the little guy there? We're finding out where the rubber hits the road, folks. And it is it's very apparent if you're paying attention.
Didn't all the rich people sell their stocks before all the disease stuff hit, like right before?
Oh, yes, there was a lot of that.
Before the pandemic stuff, like
absolutely. A matter of fact, there were some, and by the way, nothing happened to anyone. Anytime that someone looks into this sort of thing, they talk about regulations, they talk about, getting into insider trading and all that sort of stuff. Nothing ever happens to anyone on these things. But you're absolutely right. A bunch of rich people and a bunch of people in Congress sold their stocks right before this thing came down the line, and everything, went to shite.
I believe I remember reading in the Wall Street Journal, Nancy Pelosi made a killing.
Oh, so many people made so much money because they had information long before we did that was explaining exactly what was going to happen with this COVID thing and what was going to do with business. And they knew that transportation, entertainment, everything that you can imagine was going to get hit. And things like, toilet paper and medical companies were going to go through the roof.
I should have invested in Charmin.
Yeah, no kidding, man. But anyway, look, this is a case where, the little guy won the day. This is a great moment in history. And watch what your elected leaders do, and watch what the media is doing, because no one who is in power likes this. They don't like it because it's the little guys running the show. It scares them to death.
True call show. Also completely
legal, and exactly what the hedge funds have been doing in the opposite direction. Bitcoin says Robinhood app stole from the poor and gave to the rich. Couldn't be more right on that case. Ronnie says it's fun when the man gets screwed. Walt has quotations around open markets. We haven't had open markets in a long damn time. When you talk about the free market, it's a great idea, but the free market is not so free, folks. It is very much weighted towards that top. I say top 10%. It's really weighted towards the top 2%. I'm not in the top 2%. Walt says the same thing happened with the credit card forgiveness in 08. Yeah, credit or too big to fail. I love that.
I don't know what that is. What happened in 08?
Yeah, you were probably like in first grade back then. So.
Oh my Lord!
No, I was 10 years old.
I'm sorry, you were in fourth grade.
I'm like, no, I was 10.
To be honest, I don't remember it either, CaseyJane. So
good, thank you.
But that's because he's old.
2008 was largely concerned with the housing market. The housing market imploded because they were oh my God, I can't believe I'm getting into the weeds on this.
Sorry.
They were selling, they were covering they were covering mortgages with insurance. And unfortunately, they were giving away loans to people who couldn't people who couldn't cover the loans. And so when people started defaulting on the loans, then the all of these crazy credit default swaps that were sitting out there had to be covered by the banks. And it was way more money than anyone ever thought would be required at one time. And that's why we started bailing out banks. And you heard things about being too big to fail and all that sort of stuff. It didn't just affect the housing market. We went into a recession and nearly a depression on this whole thing. Had to bail out, and I don't know why, but had to bail out auto manufacturers and all kinds of stuff. It was a crazy, crazy time. And now we're getting into that sort of thing again with COVID. We ain't out of that yet.
Don't worry, it'll trickle down to you.
Yeah, we're the ones who usually take it in the shorts on this stuff.
Just pull up your bootstraps, work harder.
It was nice, right? Exactly. It was nice to see the hedge fund guys. And by the way, hedge funds do not create. They don't create jobs. They do not help companies. They do not create innovation. What they do, hedge funds are designed to create wealth for people who are exceptionally wealthy. There's no one on this panel right here that is involved in a hedge fund because we're not in the top 2% of wage earners. Okay? So anytime you hear anything about hedge funds, it's custom designed for rich people to get richer. That's all it is. So screw them.
Yeah, screw them. Let's talk about something nerdy.
That's what I have to say about that.
Give it to the man.
Ronnie's got a whole long story here. Holy cats. Walt says politicians sold their credit card company stocks before they laid down the forgiveness. Of course they did. Of course they did. Lucent Technologies. Yeah, Lucent was interesting. Adjustable loans. Walt's all over this. Maxine says hello.
Hey.
Ronnie says, how about a reverse split? Yeah, good Lord. Reverse splits. I mean, short selling is the thing that we had to learn on this thing, which is basically betting against a stock, saying that the stock is going to go lower. So anyway, there you go. That's the whole thing. Does anyone else have anything to say about the GameStop situation? And it's still going on, by the way. GameStop made a lot of money for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. A lot of the right people.
Good or bad, I'm glad it happened. If for no other reason, just to educate the masses. No one would have cared. No one would have known anything about this had this particular incident not occurred. So now quite a few more of the populace is actually researching it. They're actually looking into it. They're actually finding out what the details are.
Yep.
So it's a crappy thing that has happened per se, but in the big scope of things, there are more and more people who are now aware of what's going on, and they can, tweak their life to work within those boundaries.
I've had a lot of people ask me to explain to them how short stock works and all stuff like that. I'm like, oh, good. Learn it. No, it's a thing.
It's ridiculous. It's like It's like magic. It's not entirely. It's only real because we all agree that it's real, folks.
No,
That's
that card
the
game
fact.
doesn't exist.
Exactly.
We're getting back to being nerdy. It doesn't exist.
Nerdy. All right, we're going to move on to the next thing here if I can find the deal. Here it comes. George Clooney is heading to the 25th century. Through his production company, Smokehouse Pictures, Clooney has signed on to exclusively produce or to executive produce a new limited series for Legendary based on the classic sci-fi character Buck Rogers. Variety has confirmed Clooney will executive produce with partner Grant Heslov. A rep for Clooney says the actor-director is only signing on to this project in a producing capacity and will not star, contrary to other reports. Legendary had no comment. Brian K. Vaughan, who did Under the Dome and Why the Last Man, will write the series. Not too bad. Smokehouse is joining Angry Films heads Don Murphy and Susan Montfort as producers, as well as Flint Dill, the grandson of the creator of the serialized comic strip that made Buck Rogers a household name in the 1930s. It's almost 100 years old. The series does not currently have distribution, so it's being made for Legendary. We don't know where it's going to end up. Let's
Can I show
go.
my age real quick? I don't know who
Please.
George Clooney is.
What?
Oh,
I know the name, but
oh.
I couldn't give you a face.
That
He
is
was
wonderful.
Batman.
CaseyJane, that is the best news I've heard all day.
He was Batman.
You are one of my favorites.
Yeah, I wanna forget him too.
Awesome.
I know the name, but I couldn't tell you. Like if I saw a picture of him, I couldn't tell you who it is. I had to Google him.
Wow.
He's like a handsome grandpa and has been for like 40 years.
I'm sorry, I just had to put that out there.
Awesome.
We
Wow.
need all things to laugh
This
after
is
that
going
serious talk.
listen, this is why we need younger people on the show.
I'm here for comedic relief.
That is fantastic. You have no idea how much you brighten my day. That was beautiful.
Sorry, go on.
No,
We're
no.
going to go to handsome grandpa Scott.
If this is done good, which we all hope it will be, because
Yeah.
I mean, more nerdy things successful, the more other nerdy things. I mean, like how we don't have a Flash Gordon series, or at least another attempt in the last little while that at least I would have heard of. I'm sure there has been. Walt's going to chime in here in a second. Let us know. Buck Rogers. I mean, like it was a really fun show back when I was young, and I loved it. I watched one recently. I have on my free cable stuff that I get through the airwaves. I have some weird channel that sometimes shows those. So I've seen one recently, and they're still okay. If I probably didn't watch it when it came out, I probably wouldn't care at all. But I think it's a good property to do. And honestly, I'm not a Clooney fan, but when I first read this and heard that he might play Buck Rogers, it would almost really be a good role for him in some ways. Like I could see him kind of fit in that part.
No.
I'm glad he's not in it either, Sean. But to me, that would have been a role that I wouldn't have mind seeing him in. I'm glad he's not in it. I hope it reboots well. I hope I don't know. Are they going to go back to the old books? They're going to go back to the TV show? I mean, where are they going with this property? We don't know. Hopefully it'll be pretty good. Brian K. Vaughan, if you read his
the original source material is a comic strip, but that was
that was so long ago.
Literally almost 100 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, Brian K. Vaughan's a great writer.
Yes,
if you've read Why the Last Man, that's a great series. He's currently doing Saga. They're taking a break, and that is like a fantastic epic. If you're an adult and haven't read Saga, please do yourself a favor and go out and read it. And
I couldn't agree more on that.
It's the adult version of what that same feeling Star Wars gave you when you were a kid. It's magical. It makes you cry. It makes you laugh. It's really good. So I love the fact that he's attached to this. So maybe that's some good stuff, right there.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm optimistic, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna watch it because they're gonna have like 1 hour shows, and I'm gonna be like, I'm out. So, anyways, thumbs up so far.
Wow. Let's see. Let's get to some of the comments here from people. Ronnie says, "Thank God she didn't say she doesn't know Buck Rogers. She might not know Buck Rogers either, folks. We don't have. I'm going to her next.
God, Jesus.
There's got to be an adult film star named Buck Rogers, right? It just seems natural.
I've got a different version of that, which I can't say on the show that probably is an adult star.
Well, yeah, I was thinking that too. That's where my mind was, but I can't say that. That could be the movie. The guy's named Rogers.
Series. That was truly that was one of the worst series of all times.
That was terrible.
Everyone who was involved in that should have been fired into the sun. Put him on the space shuttle.
The movie? That old
fire him into the sun.
Oh,
dude, are we talking about Flash Gordon? Dude,
we're gonna fight.
Oh my God!
Oh, my mic's on mute. You can't talk. My mic's on mute.
Ronnie says it'd be great if Clooney played Batman. He would have been awesome.
No, we have Robert Pattinson now, man.
Lord. And Walt says, if anything, we need to do the Starfighters from the 80s TV show. That should definitely be revived for sure.
I will agree with that one.
And Queen, what's her name's outfit? I think I'd like to see that redone.
I want to call her Queen Amidala, but I know that's the wrong name. What was her name?
That's what I wanted to call her.
It's not that.
Will someone
Ardala. I think it's Ardala.
Is it Ardala? That sounds correct. Would someone look up how old George Clooney is for me, please?
I'll do it right now.
Brendan says I've never heard Dirk that upset before.
How old is George Clooney?
Let me tell you something.
He's born in 61.
He's 59.
Oh, he's not. He's actually younger than I thought.
Okay.
Sorry, George.
He's older than I thought. So
Walt says it's Queen Ardala.
Ardala.
Is it princess or queen?
Princess. She was a princess. She wasn't the.
We better have Tiger Man in this, and we better have Hawk. We got to have Hawk.
Which was famously spoofed on Morton. My God, I can't think of the name.
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty. Thank you. Good Lord. Okay, we're going to CaseyJane.
I can't.
You don't have. You've got nothing on this.
Who Clooney was?
You don't know Buck Rogers.
No.
You do not.
Dude, you made her squeal.
Wow. So no.
Dirk made a girl squeal on camera.
Wow.
Oh,
have you ever done that before?
Wow. Well, it's nice. It's nice visiting with you, CaseyJane.
Hey, there was an old Buck Rogers role-playing game wasn't there a role-playing game or was there a board game by TSR back in the 80s?
Was there?
Yes, for sure. He was on the back of comic books and ads and stuff. And I don't know if it was a role-playing game or a board game.
I think it was a board game.
He says he's a year older than him.
Huh. I'm looking it up now.
I thought that George Clooney was a little bit older. That he's only about 2 years older than Brad Pitt. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's an old board game by TSR.
I don't like knowing that information.
What?
That he's only 2 years. Yes.
Brad Pitt is
pretty crusty
57.
Too. He's hot grandpa number 2.
It happens to most of us.
Yeah, Sean's number 3 hot grandpa.
All right, Sean. What's your take on this?
I recently saw, I say recently, probably a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago. Anyway, George Clooney has a movie on Netflix called The Midnight Sky, I think, which was directed by him, starring him, so on and so forth.
Yep.
It was very well done. I didn't particularly care for the story necessarily, but I thought that his performance, his direction, everything, it was good. It was a decent movie. Some people will like the story. I didn't care for it. It got a little too Greenpeace and political for me there, kind of towards the end. But overall, it was a good movie. So in that respect, we can also look at Ocean's 11. I believe he was a producer on that one, or a co-producer back in the day. Again, great job there. Of course, he also had an amazing cast to help support him in that. with that in mind, with him being involved in a producer role, possibly, if he wants to push it even further to direct an episode or two, rock on. I think it would be great. The original serials that came out in, I believe it was the 30s. Buck Rogers predates Flash Gordon, so whenever the original movie Buck Rogers came out, which by the way you can watch for free on YouTube, I believe, starring Buster Crabbe, who would then play Flash Gordon in the Flash Gordon serials. Don't ask me how that worked, but yeah, I mean, it had a really cool tone to it. It had a really neat story, even though it was, as you say, 100 years old. It still had some really cool sci-fi roots to it. So if they do want to go back to the original story, mix in a little bit of the 80s kind of flair, give Gil Gerard a guest spot.
Oh, he's going to get on there at some point.
Oh, sure. Why not?
Dude, Clooney could do a cameo as Hawkman telling the stories of Buck Rogers.
Okay, Hawkman doesn't need to be anywhere near.
I'm sorry, his name was just
program.
Hawk. Dude, to
Hawk
a little 8-year-old boy,
anywhere.
He was from a planet of hawks.
Great.
His ship had claws, Sean.
It did. And
8-year-old boys go nuts for that.
Gary says my favorite.
In his hair.
Gary says my favorite was when Hawkman had his ship sink the claws in the Buck's ship and into his shoulder.
Actually,
he was
Hawk,
8 too.
It was Hawk's wife's shoulders, and he ended up killing her, his own wife.
Wow.
Well, that's what Hawks do, man.
The second season.
Hawks got to be Hawks, dude.
It was terrible.
Hawks got to be hawking.
Dude, the second season of Buck Rogers was amazing, and you need to take that back before I drive over there and slap your face while we're live.
Wow.
They were on a ship traveling the galaxy.
Bring it.
Content.
I'm gonna get you, Hot Grandpa number 3.
I'll even make sure that the door is unlocked. Bring it.
No.
Like says, just don't let Sean ask you to pull his finger.
I don't fear you.
No, Hawk, no.
Right.
Go watch some old Buck Rogers. You're gonna see the magic of Hawk.
I have them all on Blu-ray.
Of course you do.
Why wouldn't you? They're probably not open.
Actually, they are. Thank you very much. I have watched them all.
Oh, that's good. Okay, for real, not to go on too big of a tangent because we always do. How many episodes was in season 1 and season 2? Do you know? Do you remember, like roughly?
Right off the top of my head, I don't.
Anyone want to look that up?
See, as a child, I remember I thought there was like
many.
I know, but as a child, I thought I would have said 50 episodes, and I know that's not true.
No. Buck Rogers started with what they called a movie, which they actually released to the theaters, and
with Gil Gerard.
Yeah, I
don't
went to see it
that.
in the theater.
I don't remember that at all.
It was the first 2 episodes of the series that they released to the theater, and then it started up on NBC.
Huh, that's crazy.
Walt said the second season of Buck Rogers sucked, but it did have Dennis Haysbert in a recurring bit part.
I think it also had Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't remember if she was in the second season.
What year was
or the first
this?
Season.
79 or something?
It was 79 when it first came out. I think the final episode was
Johnny with the win. 37 total episodes over
37.
2 seasons.
Yep.
Thank you.
I just found it too.
If it makes you feel better, I do know who Jamie Lee Curtis is.
There we go. She still very active.
I know her from Halloween, but you know what?
Man.
I still know her.
Mel Blanc was Twiggy? I didn't know that.
Oh, for God's sakes.
And Aaron Gray. Ugh, she's delicious.
You did not know that?
You
no,
should
I did not.
I actually met her at a convention down in
Dallas. I did.
San Antonio.
She wouldn't give me a picture unless I gave her money because she was raising money, and I'm not griping. So I just donated money, and she let me take a picture.
Jamie Lee was in the first season. All right.
For those who do not know, Mel Blanc is the guy who did, Bugs Bunny and many other characters' voices on the old Looney Tunes. Yeah, he's the guy who did this. Betty says hello.
Hi, Mom.
Walt says Jamie Lee was in the first season, third and fourth episode. And Steve says, who gets cast as Wilma Deering in this new iteration?
Ooh.
And who gets Buck if it's not Clooney?
I don't know. I'm going to have to think on that one for a
Mel
bit.
Blanc did Barney Rubble.
Mhm.
I haven't gone yet. I think that it's incredible that we haven't had Buck Rogers for the past 40 years. I mean, that's crazy. That's kind of a something that should always be out there. Someone should be working on that. Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon, both of those are franchises that should have something in the works. We talked about the stupid sci-fi series that probably killed Flash Gordon for the foreseeable future. They have talked about doing a new movie version of that. Look, this is custom made for the streaming services. I have no idea why it's taken them so long to get on this. I think that, kudos to Clooney for investing in this and getting it going. I really wouldn't, he's nearly 60 years old, but I really wouldn't have a problem with him being Buck Rogers. They're saying he's not going to be Buck Rogers, but I don't really have a problem. I think
he kind of fits the role.
If he were 10 or 15 years younger, he would be the guy.
Remember, he was an astronaut. He was a NASA, in the 80s version, he was a NASA astronaut.
He just has that kind of,
don't go up into space.
Square-jawed, all-American, aw shucks kind of demeanor that is right on target with Buck Rogers. He's kind of perfect for the role. So I guess my question is, who is, if not George Clooney, then who is going to get this role? It's probably going to be someone that I don't like.
Maybe it'd be some, up and comer kind of no name person.
Someone like the guy who plays Superman on the CW.
I would prefer it to be.
I hate that guy. Myself. I hate that guy so much.
You hate Superman though.
No, I like Superman fine. I like Henry Cavill as Superman.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're not into you don't like handsome dudes. You're into like ugly dudes.
Listen, everyone has their preference.
I like dudes. Okay. If it's a role where it's going to be gritty, I want someone that can pull off that deal. I don't want someone that looks like they who's too refined. Let's say that.
So Robert Pattinson as Batman. Thank you. Good night.
My daughter would say Tom Holland is perfect because he's perfect.
Yeah, Tom Holland is a good example of a guy who is not gritty. I like Tom Holland. He's a great Spider-Man.
Do you think he shops in the boys section? Or
I don't like him as Spider-Man.
Oh, my daughter would kill you right now. She is
sorry. I said what I said.
You can say Tom Holland, and she just giggles and twinges a little bit.
Sorry, I made this off topic. That's just my personal opinion on Spider-Man. I do not like him as Spider-Man.
But it's John Glenn.
Mike is saying John Glenn.
John Glenn has done
back to space.
More than that.
He went back to space. He got in what was it? Did he get in the space shuttle? Did they send him up with the space shuttle?
Exactly.
I'm not sure. I don't remember either.
I don't remember.
Walt says he prefers an unknown. I'm fine with that, just as long as it's not someone that sucks. Please,
no pretty boys.
Yeah, it needs to be someone who I believe can actually throw a punch and can take one. Please. That's all I'm asking.
Holt.
Holt.
Crap! I can't think of his name. He played Beast in the X-Men.
That might be
in
the younger Beast one. Okay.
Yeah, I like that guy.
First class Beast.
Yes.
Okay. That guy could do probably a good job.
Alphonse Holt.
I don't believe that is correct.
Begemont.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
I'm close.
Yes, you are. Nicholas
Holt.
So close to Alphonse.
Or Bergamot.
Or Bergamot.
It's right there.
Sweet.
That's right there, folks.
Pearl.
Does anyone... Glenn rode the shuttle. Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. So that was a few years ago. I would be perfectly fine if George Clooney wants to go to the 25th century.
Yeah, well, luckily
he's a big name. He may not look. These guys who who are movie stars, a lot of them don't want to get involved in television work because it's, instead of working on 2 hours of material, you're working on 10 hours of material per season and stuff. It's a lot of work. So that's probably the main reason why we're probably not going to get him as Buck Rogers. Walt says that John Glenn was 77. We're moving on to the next subject. How about that?
Speaking of 77.
How about that?
And seamless transition. Seamless.
This is the funniest story I've heard in a while. Cyberpunk 2077 fans have been creating mods for the game to change all sorts of things from the mini-map to the weather. There's demand for saucier. The demand for saucier mods exists as well, as players love romancing characters in Night City. For instance, players who want to woo Judy as a male V can do so with the help of a mod created by Xylar. But not all mods of this nature have survived unscathed. CD Projekt Red has shut one tweak that allows players to approximate sex with Johnny Silverhand, a major character played by Keanu Reeves. A popular but simple tactic for modders looking to bed ineligible characters is to go to the game's sex workers, known as Joy Toys, and replace their NPC models with more characters like Goro Takamura or Evelyn Parker. One modder, Kat Mino, uploaded a version of this mod that replaced a Joy Toy with Johnny Silverhand, only to have CD Projekt Red intervene and take the mod down. According to the creator, you can no longer download it. For this first, I am going to Sean. What do you think? Should they have allowed this to happen?
Why does everybody want to tank Keanu Reeves?
Dude, Keanu Reeves is the internet's boyfriend.
He is the kind of symbol of purity in this world. Leave the man alone, for God's sake. No. We knew that, the moment that they we knew the moment that CD Projekt Red announced that you could romance graphically, all these various characters and whatnot. You knew somebody was going to try to shag, Keanu Reeves, and
of course,
when the game didn't allow him, you can go online and find mods for every game that's out there. So the idea that somebody modded a romp, a tryst, a afternoon delight, as it were, with Keanu, none of this is news to me per se. If anything, I'm more shocked that CD Projekt Red said, stop. Don't do that anymore. Unless Keanu's sitting there going, why is everybody having sex with me? Can we make them not do that? In which case, all right.
Right.
Keanu doesn't want it.
If he called someone up and said, let's stop this.
At that point, you're like digitally raping the man. Leave him alone.
Wow.
Leave the man alone.
Wow. We're about to get censored by YouTube. I'm going to have to bleep that word out.
Whatever.
Let's see. Gary says the Blade Runner mode makes the game so beautiful. What does it make it more neon?
Already pretty.
It's already pretty neon, I'm sure.
Now, see, my question is, do you have little guest appearances of Roy Batty or of Pris? I mean, these are things that should, even if they're just in the background, they should be there.
Definitely be in there. That should definitely be in there. Okay, we're going to go to CaseyJane.
So, if anything, I don't want to.
You've had sex with him, haven't you, in that game?
I have not. I don't download mods. First off, but the whole thing. Come on, the whole thing is funny. That it's just hilarious that they had to be like.
If you did, you wouldn't tell us here, right?
But I haven't. If anything, if I did, I would tell you.
Haven't, right?
But I haven't.
Right.
I haven't.
Right. I said you haven't.
You said a very condescending tone. I don't appreciate that.
It was very supportive.
That's
Now
a lie.
Now she's coming after you, Scott.
Yep.
Oh, my mic is
Everyone
muted.
gets
I can't talk.
Anyway, it's just funny. Listen, we've all grown up with the games. Like, I grew up playing GTA 5, and you had to go to the strip club for part of the campaign. Like, it's nothing new in games. But the fact that they had to literally, like, kind of come in there and be like, guys, you need to stop. That's just hilarious to me that it got to be that big of a deal. But
Right. It got that out of hand.
yeah,
So-
like it got to
where
be
are
that
you-
big a problem.
Where are you on doing Keanu Reeves? Is that a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I mean,
John Wick, Keanu Reeves, or
John
the one
Wick.
from,
John
Neo.
Wick, yeah.
Maybe
Or-
Neo.
or Neo, or Bill and Ted.
Right.
What- I don't even know which
Which
one it
mod do
was.
you prefer?
I read John Wick. John Wick.
John Wick?
Yes.
All right. I
Yeah,
think
that's my take on it. It's like it is what it is. It's a video game. People are gonna mod it. It's not like
Of
we
course.
haven't seen it before.
of
But
course.
just the fact that they had to
It is-
intervene.
And this is
That's it.
a game for adults, folks. I mean, it's not like,
Yes.
children are playing this, and it's not
Although-
like
Sorry.
it's not like Keanu doesn't know that
No,
he
what's
has
going on?
people who come on.
I'm still curious if Keanu said, "Hey, they're touching me inappropriately." Make them
It
stop."
must. It must. I'm assuming so.
He doesn't
Because I can't
care.
imagine that CD
I
Projekt
can't-
Red was like, hey, don't
It
do
would
I'm
that
get more
anymore.
astounded
traction.
that
It would
they-
get more traction.
That they got on top of that so quick, so to speak.
Okay, I do like the term now. What is it? Toy joy? Joy toys.
Joy toy.
Toy
I've never
like
heard
that
that
too.
term
I like
before.
the-
I like that term.
I'm adding that to my lexicon right now.
That's going in my vocabulary.
Gary says that the Blade Runner mod changes the weather into really smoggy and dark. I like that.
Oh, nice.
I'm into that.
I like ambiance.
I do too. Scott, what do you think, man?
Okay, so this game has not been doing well, right? It's got a
It
lot
has
of
not.
bad publicity and stuff. And, sales are down or it's half price on Steam and everything else,
It certainly is.
right?
Mhm.
Yep.
I think this is purposeful news because there's somebody out there who didn't want that game. And then they go, I can get a mod and I can dry hump Keanu Reeves digitally. I got to just see this. I'll buy it just to see that one
Right.
thing. Here's
Right.
why.
VR headset on.
Create a little interest.
Here's why. Back in 2002, there was a game called BMX Triple X by Acclaim. It was a bike game where you could do bike tricks and ride around. It's like GTA on bike stuff, except it sucked. But it had a feature that you could put clothes on a character, and then you could turn them transparent. Therefore, they were nude. And so I bought the dang game simply. Hold
There you
on.
go.
It's even worse, Sean. It's even worse. I did not buy it brand new, but when it was on discount, I bought the game. I was married at the time. I immediately made my wife's character.
That makes it
I made my
worse.
wife as a character, and then made her have no top on, like you can do. I transparented her
Oh,
clothes, and then I
Kenzie.
constantly asked her, "Why are you running around this city naked?" As I would play and do missions.
You definitely have said
I-
this before.
Yes, I have said
Wow.
this. But what it got is for some knucklehead to go, I don't believe you can really be nude in this video game. Oh, it's cheap. I'll buy it. Well, it's cheap on Steam. Somebody tonight is going to not cop to it, but they're going to go, maybe I'll just go buy that and download me a mod and see what Keanu's packing there as Johnny
You
Silver.
can't anymore.
Johnny Silver Lace. Oh gosh, there's black markets on those things. They're tricking you somehow. I don't believe that. I bet you can still get it somewhere on that game. There's good hackers out there who do.
Well,
all
if one
sorts of
person's
stuff all
done
the
it,
time.
another one can do it as well. I mean, mods are not
Exactly.
run through CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
someone
So,
else is.
I think this is kind of like, oh no, it's bad pub. Don't download our game because you could have sex with Keanu Reeves, who's hot. He's the guy who plays John Wick, ladies. Don't do it. It's half price on Steam. Go for it. That's what I think. That's what I think's going on. But in other Keanu news, my comic, the new Berserker comic that's going to come out soon.
Yeah.
My store's already taken reserve copies on that. So if somebody out there that has like really good like comic professionals on it,
it
like
does.
Ron Gonni's doing
good.
the art. Matt Kiltz, I think, is writing it as well.
Yep.
So in other Keanu news that where you can't have sex with him, you could buy the comic about a character that looks like him.
It is half price.
Half price.
See, Brendan's all over it. He's like, ooh, surely they're not being for real. You can't have sex with them. And then he's going to do it like an old Leisure Suit Larry thing and go, oh my gosh, they showed the pixels.
My thought on this is give people what they want. Give the people what they want.
Yeah, they bought that trash game. Let them do it.
I mean, people are going to do this. If it's not one thing, it's another. Someone else is working on these mods right now. I've seen things. I watched stuff on YouTube about like Resident Evil and all these other games where people have modded these characters so that they're wearing bikinis or nothing. All this sort of stuff. I don't see honestly how this hurts anyone. It's funny and it's fun. I honestly, I don't know why they even took this thing down. Why would you?
They made an example, so
unless Keanu contacted them, I have no idea why they took it down. It just seems
think about this.
Overwrought and ridiculous.
We're gonna make a cool game about you. Oh no, people are having cyber sex with you. You know what they told me that? I'd be like, that is so cool.
Well, I'm not Keanu Reeves. I don't get that sort of validation very often, so I would be excited about that.
Heck yeah, I would.
Keanu,
be like, dudes are downloading it, girls are downloading it. I'd be like,
day.
Yes, I'm awesome.
He doesn't need it.
Speaking of Resident Evil, though, when we talk about Resident Evil, I call being on this podcast. I want to be on that episode when we talk about it.
That game's too scary. I don't play that. It gives me a heart attack.
Is there any news on?
The new trailer.
I was about to say, is there any news on Resident Evil?
Well, did you see the new trailer that came out last week?
He did not. He's an old man.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's for Resident Evil what?
8.
All right.
And they have a playable demo, which is Village.
I'll let Jennifer play it and I'll watch.
There's a 10-foot goth vampire lady.
Here's the deal. Let's hear your perspective on this. It's your time.
Oh, but we don't have the trailer ready. I can't go.
I'm sorry. I mean, just tell us what you think.
Just talk about your excitement for this game.
They're just beautiful women, more or less. No, it looks really cool though. So if we ever do talk about it, I definitely want to go over it and explain the trailer through the gameplay.
Yeah.
That way it'll give more context. But internet's freaking out because everyone is literally like, these are the villains. We're supposed to. I'm not running away from them. I'm running towards them.
Oh, we got hot villains now instead of weird zombie things.
Oh, wait a minute.
A straight woman. I'm running towards her.
I did see something on this.
Yes, the 10-foot.
The busty vampire.
Yes.
Yeah.
In today's day and age, you're gonna be like, I'm not gonna run away from her. She can have my soul. Take it.
Now I am interested.
Oh, of course you're.
You're welcome.
No, still too scary. I might run out of bullets and have to start over.
No, that has nothing. There's no gore or anything.
I've never screamed in my life.
That is a stressful game, man.
Where that snake came out. Oh my gosh.
That and Dead Space, where you're afraid of running out of bullets. It's like, I can kill these things, but I'm running out of bullets.
Yeah, the playable the trailer, the Village trailer was really fun.
Oh, here we go. This is good stuff here.
Here's the lady everybody keeps talking about.
But I like the daughters. The daughters are what. Yeah, zoom in. I think you zoomed in.
Hang on, let me get this. Let me get this out of the way. There we go.
Mistress Dimitru. I don't
know. She has a very big,
nice personality.
Hat.
It's very large hat, and what's that on her chest?
It's a flower.
A flower.
Corsage.
Corsage. Thank you.
It is black.
Yeah.
But the daughters in the background. Yeah. I'm cosplaying as. I'm literally making a cosplay of them.
Wow. Well, yeah. I think that your assessment of running to these villains is correct.
See? I'm not running away. Have my soul, please.
Wow.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Sorry.
Yeah, a lot of illustrators I follow, they've been going nuts over that character, as well as a handful of cosplayers. Their entire life has changed overnight.
You're welcome, everyone. I'm sorry to change the subject.
And the game, all we've gotten was this teaser. We haven't even gotten, I don't believe, a full trailer yet. So we don't.
Oh.
And yet everybody's still going, I think I'm going to be her next week.
Right.
God, give it a minute.
Gary says there's 8 Resident Evil games.
There will be.
Yes, there are.
Actually, there's more than that.
And he said that he took his wife to see Resident Evil on their first date.
That's lovely.
That's true love right there.
That really is.
Right.
I can't. It was definitely a first date because there's no way Julie would go to that movie now. She'd go call Rob and Scott.
It was an accurate indicator of what was to come. If you can win her over after that date, then that's good news, right?
Rock and roll.
Well, he is a handsome man, so.
All right, we're going to move on to the next deal. Here it comes.
We have different music. I had to switch it up.
I did. Actually, I played a lot of the old stuff tonight, as it turns out. But yeah, I have a few new ones. Let's talk about the Royal Rumble. Happened over the weekend on Sunday. I went over to Scott's place and watched it. In honor of CaseyJane, who we knew also would be watching this thing, we're going to talk about this subject. First, to give us kind of an overview, let's go to Scott.
Royal Rumble is, held every year now. It's the January yearly event. For the past, I think me and Dirk looked this up. I think it was since 93, 92. I think it was 93. Since the 93 Royal Rumble, it always sets up a number one contender to go to WrestleMania. So while this is awesome because you have this event that's a battle royal, you have 2 wrestlers start in the ring, and then for those people who don't watch wrestling, every minute and a half, 2 minutes, or if they need to do it fast, 1 minute, whatever they decide before the Rumble, these wrestlers come out one at a time. You only lose when you get thrown over the top rope and both feet hit the ground. It sets up always the number one contender. So the main event for WrestleMania. So there's good and bad to this. Storytelling wise, going into the Rumble that there's only about 3 or 4 guys that Vince McMahon is going to trust to sell a bunch of tickets at WrestleMania. So that's kind of the bad thing about it. From a guy who's watched it now for 30 some years, because I want to see some Cinderella story with some guy who shouldn't win it, accidentally win it, and go on. But they always tease factions going in there and they're going to work together and they betray each other within 3 minutes. The cool thing, I think CaseyJane can help me on this. I think they've done the Women's Royal Rumble now for 3 years. Is that correct?
4 years.
Is it 4 now? Okay. They've added the Women's Royal Rumble, which I think makes this event even better because, the women wrestling today is so much better than it ever has been in the history of wrestling. So to have a Royal Rumble with the women as well as the men, and sometimes the women get top billing and go on the main event side of it. This year, the women went first. We saw a lot of participants, and the women battle royal is almost more fun to me because I don't know who's going to win it because I don't know. I know who usually is the top 2 or 3 people, but typically Vince McMahon doesn't book the women in the main event. So therefore it's a little bit more unpredictable on who they'll give a chance to wrestle second to last match on the card or something like that. So I don't know what else you want me to say before we go into what we've seen.
That's good. Yeah.
The new Royal Rumble format with both Rumbles.
What stood out?
I think the new format with both Rumbles is cool in the sense that you get more Royal Rumble because a lot of times they have over 30 guys on the roster. They can put 60 guys on the roster, but what they usually do is they take 4 or 5 guys and do surprise entrances. So guys who have been hurt, maybe gone, that you heard for, oh, he got a knee injury, he's going to be gone for a year and a half. Well, they start that lie early so they can surprise you at number 28, a guy that should have been gone for a year is back after 3 months, or a guy that hasn't been with the company for 10 years shows up, or some of the old timers, the legends that you used to love watching as a kid, those guys are getting way older now. But I mean, back in the 2000s stuff, we're seeing people come back. And this year we got people like Carlito come in. Who else was some surprise entrants? I know for the women, we had a lot of the lady wrestlers from the early 2000s. We got to see Victoria come back, which she was one of my favorite.
I was so upset with her entrance music, though.
I know it should have been the other thing.
I wanted all the things she said, but nonetheless, the thing with the women is there's a lot less women.
There definitely
kind of have to rely on the surprise entrance and like the legendaries. But going on with you said with the women in the Royal Rumble, it's completely different than what it used to be. Yes, I guess you could say like few years back, maybe like 10, 15 years, there were women's Royal Rumbles, but it was just like you can go through any of the ropes, touch the ground, and you're out.
That's true.
Now we stepped it up. It's like, no, you want to do this too? Be like the men. You got to go over the top.
That's a good point that I forgot. I forgot that they used to kind of candy ass them on that. And I thought it was really, I thought it was terrible actually to do that to the women.
Absolutely. But now we're getting back with that. I think you pretty much did like all the main points.
So for the women, we have Bianca Belair won it. She's the girl with she's the athletic African-American girl. I mean, she's super athletic. She's the wife of one of the guys who's part of the tag team champs still. Is that team still tag team champs, CaseyJane?
I don't follow her.
The guys who do Up in Smoke or whatever, the skinnier guy of those tag teams. No, they say something like "Bring the Smoke" or something like that.
I don't know. It's gimmick. NXT. I don't know NXT.
Anyways, one of those guys is the husband of Bianca Belair. But Bianca Belair, for years, they talked about how athletic she is, and they saddled her with this. She has super long hair, and I hate the gimmick where like she uses her hair to whip people and do this and that, and. It looks like they kind of moved away from that in this Rumble, and I kind of like that. They just let her wrestle and be herself, and I really, really enjoyed that. So it's going to be nice to get somebody different in the women's main event. Now, which belt she chooses, I don't know. Is she going to go after Sasha Banks, or is she going to go over to try to take Asuka's belt away? Because 2 different shows have 2 different world champions. So.
That's whatever Vince wants to give her.
Right. And, sometimes in between, the bad thing about the Royal Rumble, too, is like back in the day, you had the Royal Rumble, and then you didn't have any pay-per-views until WrestleMania. So you could pull this off of somebody's a number 1 contender, and we're going to build this up like a big boxing match. But the wrestling crowd now is like, you have to defend the title every month. We have a pay-per-view to sell every month. So they come up with these mini storylines in between, and sometimes they're great. And sometimes they're really, really, really awful and boring and terrible. Or you just see them treading, their tires like, oh, we're going to give this guy a chance at the big title. It's like, no, you're not. That guy doesn't have a chance to win because he's not going to main event WrestleMania. We know it's going to be Roman Reigns and somebody else, so.
Oh, you can't see him. He's back there.
It's interesting, and it's a very fun pay-per-view. I think it's one of the better pay-per-views because of all the unpredictability. And it's almost everybody I know who watched wrestling or was a fan at some point still loves the Royal Rumble.
It's a fun gimmick.
Well, it's the road. It's the official beginning road to WrestleMania.
Right.
So it's a big deal.
So for the men, I think I should let CaseyJane talk about the men because I know she's like super happy and
I'm so happy.
She's even decked out with the gear and everything else.
His music's playing right now. You can't hear it. I have it playing.
Go ahead and talk about the men's Rumble.
The men's Royal Rumble. So the men's Royal Rumble, we knew the first 2 entrants. We knew it was going to be Randy Orton and Edge. Edge came out first. And if you guys don't know, last year, Edge made his return, and it was over 9 years since he had wrestled because he got injured and he was forced to retire. He made a surprise entrance last year, and he's been going ever since. Last year, I predicted him returning. I made a joke. I'm like, oh, look, his wife's in the Royal Rumble. Like, imagine if he made an appearance. And then he did. So I was happy about that. And then this year, they're like, oh, he's going to be first. I'm like, all right, put my money on him. I'm going on him. Even though he's first. And it's extremely rare that the first entrance makes it through the whole thing.
Yeah, we
that's
talked
an
about
hour
that.
and 45-minute match. Like,
yeah.
Even if you're not doing a lot, like if you like
It's
most
a
of the
lot.
time, if you're laying down, I don't care. Like you are exhausted by that.
Yeah.
So that was always iffy, but I'm like, you know what?
It's
I have a
legitimately a slog.
It is. Like, I have a feeling it's gonna be him. And end of the match, he ends up winning.
Were you scared that Orton was going to win it when he snuck in?
The thing with that is I would have been fine with Orton winning it too, because I do like Randy Orton.
I called that like 45 minutes before it happened. I said,
sure
he's
did.
You
gonna-
can tell. You can tell.
Yeah,
You will know if it's a fake injury if a camera's still on them.
exactly.
When he hurt his knee, they kept showing him on the camera. If
Right.
it was a legitimate injury, they're
they
not
just-
going to show it.
They'd be
They
on
act
to
like he
something
never
else.
existed.
Yeah, exactly. Like you pretend nothing happened.
Who's
when
Randy
they kept
Orton?
showing it, yeah, pretty much. But and then I'm like, he's going to come back last second. Like the first two are going to be the last two. And that's what happened. But then Edge got him over, and it was amazing. I was so happy. I put money on him, and I won $150. Betting on him.
Wow.
Well, we all did it. We did 30 people. You can either put money on who we know's entering, or be like, I think this is going to be a surprise entrant.
Just take a
30 people,
random.
$5 each. Yeah, pretty much. And I ended up winning it all.
Wow.
So that's great.
That makes it cool.
Yeah,
yeah.
so Edge at 47 is your Royal Rumble winner, and he's going to go to WrestleMania, I guess, to be one of the co-main events.
Also, they had Christian show up, and those
my God.
those two got to,
Oh, I was
beat
so
some butt together.
literally can we just talk about the moment when Edge and Christian like hugged each other and Matt Riddle was just like
Pretty
that
cool.
would have been me. Like I would have been there.
I have to admit that was pretty cool.
Like that was a fan moment.
I like those guys back many years ago, so it was fun to see them together.
Yeah, I liked
again.
them as a tag team, and I always kind of liked Christian a little bit more than Edge. Not that
Really?
the rated R superstar Edge was a good character when he was a heel and stuff. I don't like good guy Edge, but you know.
I mean,
Yeah,
I love
no one
Edge,
really
but
does.
no, everyone likes like the rated R superstar. I like DNC though.
I was shocked to see Edge win that thing too.
Yeah.
Can we
It
talk
seems
about some of
very
the
countered.
botches? By the way,
Yeah,
when you're
go
done,
for it.
Some of
can we
the
just talk about how many botches were in this main event?
sure
Go
bring
for
it.
it.
So the Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens match. Did anyone
Oh,
did
the
anyone notice?
handcuffs?
Paul
Oh, you wanna
Heyman
go to-
couldn't. Well, there was throughout the whole event, there was like a bunch of
Right.
mishaps. So they had to stop the count because
Yes, they
Paul
did.
Heyman couldn't unlock
He
him.
couldn't
So
get him out of those handcuffs.
So to
he
set
had to
this
stop it.
Yeah, so set this up for everybody. Roman Reigns and Kevin
That
Owens
was
had
funny.
a last man
It's
standing
live.
match, and they handcuffed Roman Reigns to this bottom of this like bracket thing that was holding up lights, and they were supposed to be like do the count, and his manager comes and with the key and gets
Saves
him
him
out
at the
just
last
in
minute.
time. They got up to count 6, and I guess they realized, holy hell, we ain't
It's
gonna
not
do
going to
this.
happen.
And mysteriously, the ref just stopped counting, and the announcers acted like nothing happened.
Yeah.
You know, it was just
They
like
said something about like he's got his feet in a base.
No, we
He,
didn't.
he's on both of his feet now, so the count has to stop.
yeah, it was
He was on his knees.
It took
ridiculous.
them forever to get him out of the. I thought they're going to have to cut these things off of him.
It was a bad spot, and that's why you use fake handcuffs. That way, somebody can break them if
I
needed.
could break him out, which would have been
Exactly.
actually even cooler.
There's that. Then the women's Royal Rumble, Belair's feet touched the ground.
Did it? I did not. I missed that.
I missed that too.
So you can, if you rewatch it, there's also just pictures everywhere. So she was hanging on to like the ropes, like both of her feet were on the ground. So
Oh,
technically she should have been out.
Oh,
I wonder if they worked that into storyline, because they've done that before where they're like, that would be a great little
Batista
story.
and John Cena when they both accidentally went over.
Yeah. That would be good for somebody to come out and say you cheated, and they have a feud until WrestleMania.
Yeah, and then she proves like, no, I deserve this. Right. I would like that storyline when she still will like comes up on top, but someone's like kind of like, you don't deserve this, and she proves herself that
right. Or somebody on that show talks to the GM, and they have another new Royal Rumble, like it's only 20 entrances on SmackDown, and then she still ends up winning it or something like that. There's lots of ways to go, but Vince ain't going to use any of those, CaseyJane, because what we just created is a new storyline that is very logical.
That's really what I would like to talk about is the big picture here. Walt wants to talk about Carlito. What do you guys think about that?
He was on Raw last night. I did not watch it. Yeah, Carlito looked like he's been not traveling and working out. So
yeah, I heard the theme and I was just like, really? And then he came out and I'm like, really? All right, you coming back? That was interesting.
Yeah, so overall,
that's a great way to bring in Leah Ripley to the main roster.
Rhea.
Oh, that would be
Rhea.
I love Rhea Ripley. I love Rhea Ripley so much.
Oh yeah, she is really great. The bad thing about Ripley is she loves her tattoos and she wants them from head to toe, and she's not a Vince girl, so I'm curious if she gets pushed.
I mean, why not though?
Maybe Vince is not in charge of the women's division right now.
He's not,
because I told Dirk this, and I don't mean to offend people here, but we all know Vince has a type that he likes, and I said Bianca Belair doesn't have the Vince type, if you know what I mean. I said it's very odd that Vince gave her the go or something. So maybe we are past the Vince booking stage. Maybe he just cancels things he doesn't like.
Dude, is there any way we can get Vince out of there, please?
God, I'm ready for him to go.
Well, Steph runs it now. Steph does the women's division.
Okay, well that's good, because
it's her and Hunter,
we need something besides Vince. We don't need platinum blondes all the time. I mean, Vince's look is Sable all the time. Sable, Trish Stratus. So anyways.
Well, and he has a thing for big guys too.
Oh, for sure.
Where like, some of these smaller guys who the crowd is ready to go over for, he fights so hard to keep the belt out of their hands. And if he would just go with it and let it happen, his ratings would improve. Vince, your damn ratings would improve.
I think that changed once the Daniel Bryan era, though.
Daniel Bryan's a good example of that.
I think that was the big, like, kind of flop.
Because
like the switch.
They pushed against that so long, and finally the crowd highjacked it.
Who's the guy that went into MMA because he kept getting screwed and had terrible storylines?
CM Punk.
The pipe bomb is a good example of a guy that if they had just let him be the superstar that he could have been, people would have gone nuts on that. And he would have sold a trillion T-shirts. And
he held that title over a year. So, that tells you something,
That's still one of the best promos, and I'll still say to this day.
Finn Balor. Balor got really screwed over when he hurt his shoulder, because I'd like to see what he would. I mean, he was the first Universal Champion, which was very, very different, because it since has turned into the Goldberg Brock Lesnar big guy title. But it was Finn Balor who had it, won it, and then had to give it up the next night because he separated his shoulder and finished the match and won. But anyways, I always wondered, like in some alternate timeline where he didn't get hurt, the trajectory of that belt and maybe what chances other people would have got, because to me it feels like a Universal title is just the big guy belt, but what else? Anyways, I'm sure everybody's tired of us talking about wrestling, but I'm excited for WrestleMania. I heard there's going to be fans. Yes, is that still the rumor?
Yep. It's confirmed.
It's confirmed. Okay.
It's confirmed.
If they're going to have fans at the Super Bowl, they're going to have it at WrestleMania for sure.
Even if you put 100 people in there and then 100 people that are family, just that noise will be awesome. I mean, they've done a great job simulating the best they could with all the TV cameras, but some live people is going to make that thing go nuts. And really, some of those wrestlers, they deserve to hear some cheers. They've been kind of working their tails off through this too.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of the storylines have sucked, and they just smile and go like, "Yeah, I don't mind wrestling this guy again for the 3rd straight month."
What are you gonna do? Like,
yeah, I know.
I have a couple of things to say. Like I said, I'm not watching wrestling tight enough where I can really make a great analysis of what happened. But I can say that, we ended up watching, Scott and I ended up watching like several episodes or several old Royal Rumbles just because we were kind of interested in
we
how
watched the Yokozuna special afterwards.
Well, I'm going to talk about that in a second.
Okay.
But, we watched the old Royal Rumble, and something that really struck me is that, in the 80s and the 90s, back during a time when I was following wrestling a lot closer, the storylines and the characters were a hell of a lot more interesting. And you can't blame that on, the people, because like Scott and I were talking about, back in the old days, they assigned these characters to you and you were kind of stuck with these characters for life. But the characters were better. It was a lot more fun. It was a little bit lighter in tone than what they're doing right now. I think that you have to look at the management and the people who are the creative staff or whatever for the WWE and say, that they desperately right now need a mix-up with their storylines and their characters, because both of them are pretty lackluster right now. While if you look at the old stuff, the people that they have doing wrestling right now, the wrestling matches are a hell of a lot better now than they used to be. They're a lot more athletic. There's a lot more going on. It's a lot quicker paced. People are doing crazier stuff. They're not doing the crazy stuff like they did during the Attitude Era where, they're bringing in barbed wire bats and they're blowing each other up and stuff. But, everything is a tables, ladders, chairs match. So it's not quite that. But the athleticism is pretty much off the hook right now.
Oh, 100%.
So, I mean, they're just really exceptional athletes if they just let these guys do the thing. But the storylines only last for a week or two until the next pay-per-view or whatever. Shame on the people who are running the show there. And I have to think that that's Vince. I was telling Scott, who's second in command, and he said it's Triple H and Stephanie. So, I don't want anything to happen to Vince. I'm not saying that I want something to happen to him, but I think that once he, finds something else to do, steps back a little bit, I think that the WWE will greatly improve, because I do believe that Triple H understands and knows how to tell the story in the ring and how to get these wrestlers over and stuff. I think it will be much, much better.
I think you see that in NXT.
I was just going to say.
I think if you look at NXT, obviously they have the capacity to do it, and I think that if you look at the other feds right now that are the All Elite Wrestling and some other stuff, man, when you mix it up and you have fun and you have factions and you tell these more interesting stories, it makes the whole thing a lot more fun. And I think they need to get back to that. That's my opinion on it.
I'll say one of my favorite gimmicks for like wrestler right now is he's on NXT.
Which
like
one?
Karrion Kross.
Oh, yeah.
Granted, I'm a
big
product. Scarlet mark. Dirk knows this. I love Scarlet, but like her and Karrion Kross together, like I love that. I don't know if it would translate well onto main roster right now, because
I have a bad feeling Scarlet is just Sable 2021.
She was. Well, I mean, yeah, but she also is a real wrestler.
No, I know that. I guess maybe I should say I'm scared that Karrion Kross might be Mark Marrow 2021, and the show is her with him, and if they ever separate those, I think we might get a Rusev Lana thing here where they go, we don't need you, dude, and move on. Yeah. I mean, he's a good wrestler. He's a really good wrestler who unfortunately got hurt. And had to give up the NXT title too. So, but they're back, I believe, right?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
I wanted to see both of them make an appearance in Royal Rumble, but neither of them did.
Yeah, their roster's so big now to get some of the old guys who is not going to be in WrestleMania You know, you got to take away. I feel bad for some of these young guys because you could actually do a 60-man rumble and still have plenty of room for all these characters. But it is what it is, and you know, luckily I don't have a job there because I know they'd go Prime. You're off the card. And I'll be like, dang it. For 2 months, you said I was going to be in it.
One other thing I'd like to mention is that we watched the Yokozuna documentary after the Royal Rumble. And one thing that the WWE is doing really well right now are documentaries. These documentaries really, really well produced. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not just schlock. They're telling the real story on these things, so they're intriguing. You're going to actually learn something. You get some behind the scenes stuff. Very poignant. Yokozuna died way too young. What was he, 34, I think, when he died? You talk to all of the people in the family and all the stuff. It's exceptionally well produced. It's not just like, you know, a 2020 episode or Dateline or something. I mean, it's like a real solid documentary. They're really putting out some really excellent. I mean, you wouldn't expect WWE to be doing excellent documentaries, but they really are. I was actually kind of more into the documentary than I was.
Dude, if that was on NBC or ESPN or anything else, and they just had a different label for it, a 30 for 30 or whatever, they would talk all about it because
I totally
they're
agree.
Pretty good. They're pretty good stuff.
It was as someone who enjoys documentaries, it's a quality documentary.
I mean, even in that documentary, we got Hogan about as close as he can go to admitting that, like, he parlayed himself into stealing the spotlight.
Being very, very real.
Doing his best Stan Lee.
And almost being humble about it. I mean, almost being like, you know, legitimate and kind of whatever.
So
the documentaries have been so good. Ever since Last Ride, it's like I've been kind of like watching all of the other ones. But yeah, they've been pretty good.
Sean, do you have anything you want to hedge in here? I mean, you didn't see it, I know.
He hates us right now.
I know, man. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
He's good. All right. We're going to move on to...
Wait. Sean, did you get mad when Shawn Michaels cut his hair?
No.
Okay. Some people violently did. So we were just talking about that.
I said that some people were not upset about it. They were mad. They were mad. There it is.
When I was itty bitty
over here,
you know, 10, 11, 12 years old, I grew up with the Rock and Roll Express.
Yep.
So, I mean,
we saw a little Rock and Roll Express during
we saw the Rockers.
I'm sorry. We did. I'm sorry.
That's the WWE version of the Rock and Roll Express.
Right.
So
we watched a lot.
We did not see Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. We saw Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels.
Marty Jannetty, oh my God.
Okay, so you know, seeing somebody from that era, you know, the early '80s, cut his hair. Who cares?
Okay.
Who cares?
I was more mad about Triple H's hair being cut, though.
It's hair.
That's fair.
I had hair down to my
Walt
ass.
says he was glad that he finally cut his hair.
It's hair.
Brian James says, when are we going to get the definitive piece on above average Mike Sanders, Scott?
Do you remember above average Mike Sanders, CaseyJane? Did you watch? You do? Well, that's some cred for you there. Some old WCW credit.
I have a WCW belt. Like an actual one. I know WCW.
All right.
That's from Diamond Dallas Page. That's an actual belt.
DDP?
I like DDP.
I do too.
But
of course, now he's a yoga instructor. But
yes, he is.
Yes. So is Trish Stratus. But like I can't tell you anything. Like we've all made the jokes. Like I don't know jack from like the 70s, 80s, 90s, but I can tell you everything about wrestling those years. I can tell you wrestling from those years.
There's nothing wrong with that. Those were good years. Those were good years.
They were
all right,
better
we're going
years.
to On Blast. Yes.
I have to figure figure out new dances every time.
Walt says Triple H needed to cut his hair too. LOL.
No.
Check out the Luke Harper doc on WWE.
Is that since he passed away, Walt? Because if it is, I would like to kind of watch that.
Dree says Sean knows all about it because he had seriously long hair at one point.
Did you have
trying to get him to.
As long as this?
I'm trying to get him to grow his hair out. Yeah,
wait,
I'm trying to get him to go back to that. It's time to go back to the long hair, Sean.
It literally went to the small of my back.
Really?
All of it.
Bring it back. Bring it back. Let's go.
See? Thank you.
The ladies loved it too.
It's all about what the ladies want, man.
I know they did. We were all jealous of your long hair.
Walt says, actually, what I want Sean to go to is the Escape from New York look with Kurt Russell. That's what I want.
Like a mullet?
Walt says he didn't have a mullet. He didn't have a mullet, man.
No one needs a mullet.
He had long hair, but it was, it was like about hair.
I got you.
Walt Thompson says it was before he passed away.
Okay.
All right, so we're on blast. What we're going to talk about is things that we saw or read or video games we played, games, whatever. And for that first, we're going to go to Sean.
Let's see. I've watched a few things, but the one that I really, really need to share with all of you and recommend is I rented a video, which normally I don't rent videos all that much, but on this particular one,
sorry,
that is not mine.
That's mine.
Crazy wanker.
They shouldn't have put it up automatically. I don't know why I did.
The movie that I rented was called Psycho Gorman, or PG for short. It is a wonderful little movie, made in a very 80s style, tongue in cheek. If you enjoy horror comedies, this is an excellent movie. And I just want to say the young lady here.
You want to get in? Can you get closer to that, or I don't know if you can do that or not. There we go. Yeah.
Why is it describing me? Little girl,
big psycho.
Well, let me say, all of the effects.
Hey-o.
There wasn't, that I could tell, there wasn't anything digital. It was all practical effects.
It was a lot of practical effects, which was well done and very cool.
A lot of makeup effects, a lot of in-camera effects, some digital additions, but for the most part, it was all practical in-camera stuff, and it was a ball. It was an absolute ball. Keep an eye out on this young lady. I believe it is the Nita Jose Hannah, I believe. Keep an eye on her. She is going to be a star. I am saying it now. She is going to be. She was phenomenal in this. Everybody was great, but she particularly was a phenomenal character.
Carried this movie.
She was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
How old is she? Like 12 or something? I mean,
is it family or is it family?
It's pretty gory.
Is it family friendly?
It doesn't have a lot of language in it, but it's pretty gory.
Actually, there's no language that I can remember.
Yeah, I don't think they ever cussed in this thing. There's no nudity.
What about
in
teenagers?
I think teenagers could handle it just fine.
Okay, look.
It's all kind of tongue in cheek.
I am not one to ask about family friendly necessarily. My dad had me watching horror films when I was 5-6 years old.
Yep.
And I'm talking slaughter movies. I'm not talking your
right.
average, bump in the night type of film. So I'm a horrible judge. But it was fun. Again, no harsh language. I don't know. It was a blast. It was a true blast.
I think teenagers could handle it just fine.
If your kids can handle excessive gore, cartoonish gore.
There's some beheadings and disembowelings.
Yeah, I mean, but it's done it's done to such an extreme that it's not even realistic. It's very cartoonish.
It's way over the top.
So it's really kind of that border of what I would consider family friendly. You got teenagers. I think teenagers would be fine with it. Nothing harsh, nothing extreme. A fun little story. I'm eagerly waiting to see if they do announce a sequel, because I would be all over it. The Blu-ray of this comes out in March, I think middle of March. It's currently on video demand. If you got an opportunity,
it's actually at the theaters if you want to look.
It is actually at the theaters,
because Robert, our buddy Robert, said that he went to see it at a local theater. So it's out there if you want to go see a movie.
Yeah, he told me
movies in here.
He told me about this movie before y'all did. So
it's a blast. It was a blast.
I mean, it's really cheap for a first run movie to rent. I mean, what was it? $6?
Something like that.
It's not the $20 or $30 that they usually ask for these things. It was, look, if you watch the trailer and you go, it can't possibly be as good as the trailer. It was as good as the trailer throughout the entire movie. It's funny and bonkers and weird, and the little girl is great. So anyway, yeah, it was a pretty cool movie. I agree. What else, Sean?
That's pretty much it. I've just been working on artwork. I've got some other stuff that I've been drawing and whatnot, so I haven't really had a whole lot of time to read or watch a whole lot. Sadly,
Jeree says she has pictures of you with long hair.
Let me see if I can find something.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah, I'm going there.
I can't believe that's happening. Okay,
this might take
we're
me
gonna
a
go
bit.
to. We're gonna go. My gosh, I got to do this here. CaseyJane, we're going to you next.
Is everyone ready for a Marvel update?
Yes.
Oh.
I was going to actually ask you about
Infinity War.
Cool.
And
Oh boy, I didn't like it.
You didn't like Infinity War or Endgame?
I haven't seen Endgame yet.
Oh my gosh, you still haven't seen Endgame?
Infinity War's before Endgame.
Okay. So
yeah.
I hated it.
You didn't like the way it ended?
No. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so well. I didn't like it.
Ah, that's a
Oh no,
tearjerker.
so here's the thing. The movie itself was fine.
Yep.
I hated the ending and I hated how it just ended there.
Yep.
And I'm stressed.
But
Tony Stark is still alive. So you know what? That's fine by me.
Right.
Well,
That's
I meant
the whole
like
thing.
I know. But like Spider-Man died, even though I don't like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. It's still I cried a lot. But so that's what I've been watching. I'm watching Endgame this weekend. So I'll keep everyone updated on that in the group chat.
Keep the tissue box.
Keep the tissue box.
No. But I'm doing that, and then for games, I've been grinding World of Warcraft. My life has been ruined by World of Warcraft, pretty much. I've been playing so much of it. I leveled a character from level 1 to 60 within a week, which is disgusting. That's
Holy
not
cats.
okay. That's like not okay.
You got a World of Warcraft problem.
I know. I'm on a raid team now. Like, this is gross. I'm in college. I don't have time for this, but you know what? I fell asleep. I was up for 40 hours because I was too busy within school, work, and a World of Warcraft. It was terrible.
It's like an extra job.
It really is. So anyway, if anyone wants to play World of Warcraft, if you're for the Horde,
Wow.
yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing.
All right.
Rough, but it's fun.
Scott, you're up, man.
So is this the segment where we do what we consumed? Is
Yes.
that what this is? Okay.
Man, it's
All right. So
why
I watched
why is this always confusing for you, man?
because it's what did you call this? The bag of
On
holding?
blast.
See that it feels like I wanted like complain about things. Like, I'm tired of you because
that's our WTF segment.
All right. Well, on blast.
Which we need to have another one of those.
Oh man, no, we shouldn't. Not right now, because I'm gonna hurt some feelings and burn some bridges right now. So let's not do that. Anyways, my children wanted to watch WandaVision because they finally heard about it and everything.
I was going to ask CaseyJane about that.
She has not watched that.
All right.
And she shouldn't until she finishes the Marvel.
Yeah, she needs to finish the other stuff first. For sure.
I got to rewatch the first 3 episodes with my children before watching this 4th one. If you're out there, and I said I think a few weeks ago that this potentially might be one of the best things that they've kind of done creatively, Marvel universe wise.
Yep.
If those first episodes that you heard were kind of slow and weird and you don't know if you like them from what you heard, go now watch with the 4th episode. Watch them all back to back. Number one, I really appreciated them even more watching those 3 episodes over. And the 4th episode, kind of like you people who don't kind of were going like, I don't know where it's going. It's weird. It's these old TV shows. It kind of goes, okay, here, this is for you. So you'll continue to watch.
Yeah.
We're fully in control. We know what we're doing. We know where we're going.
Yeah.
We know you need this help. I was almost it was really awesome and yet disappointing because I didn't want them to reveal this yet. I wanted them to keep us kind of guessing. I'm trying to say this without spoiling stuff, but you have 4 episodes now, which is a 2-hour movie. So if you want to think of this as like WandaVision in-game part 1, go for it. Because then the next 4 are coming out. But it's really good. You should give it a shot. I can't believe I'm saying go watch a TV series because I don't like them. But this is the first episode where it ended. And I looked over going like, it hasn't even been that long. It's been like 10 minutes. And I wanted more. So it felt like it went really quick. So there you go. WandaVision's really good. And I hate to admit that. Second thing, I had a coupon where if you ordered stuff from Hot Topic, you got like half price and you had to order so much money. And I came down to a point where I didn't want to buy any of their other crap, but I needed just enough money to get like free shipping. Otherwise, it wasn't going to save me much money at all. So I threw this into the basket because at least I could read this.
What is that? You shared that with me earlier. Is that a reprint of the manga?
This is... I guess it's a cartoon or it was a web comic or something. Anyways, it's called One Punch Man. I've seen memes of this. It looks really dopey and goofy, but it's it's very Japanese, and this lives up to it. Like, it's strangely odd and strangely weird, and I kind of don't know what I read, but I kind of do. And I don't know if I love it, but I think I like it enough to get the next one if it presents itself to me. I mean, it's just, you'd have to read it. It's a very quick read. I mean, like, this thing was the price tag says $10. I mean, like, these are normally around $10. I think I read this I felt like I read it in like 20 minutes. And there's 179 pages in this. So it's a very quick read. It's very action packed. It's very like, I'm telling you right now, if I was 8 to 12 years old and I would have read this for the first time, I'd be like, when I get older, I'm going to get a One Punch Man tattoo. And I'm dressing up like him as Halloween. And it's goofy. I'm going to shave my head like him and everything. So it's really about a story about a guy who like beats everybody up in one freaking punch. And he's bored to tears because like no fight will last longer than that. And you're thinking like, how can that be kind of fun and good? Weirdly enough, it is. The art is beautiful. The art is beautiful. I know a lot of people crap on manga artists and stuff like that, but that's there's some really talented people that do things that if you watch, especially when you're currently trying to draw stuff and you see these guys pull off different weird angles and try new things and
the action
pull them off.
Usually pretty interesting, pretty
and
dynamic.
The action's good, and then they'll draw
and they do backgrounds.
And they do backgrounds everywhere that are super detailed. Yeah. And the whole time I'm trying to convince myself that what these guys did is take pictures and converted them.
Right.
And I'm not saying they didn't do that because I know that's possible nowadays, but at the same time, they probably didn't do that. A lot of those were hand-drawn backgrounds. So very good. Recommend it if you don't mind reading manga.
Who craps on manga?
Weebs. Oh no, not weebs.
Not
I've heard
weebs.
people that
A lot of
I've heard
people do.
that complain about
Really?
yeah, the artwork in manga. Absolutely.
I have never heard anybody complain.
I
That
heard
means
it
you're
quite
hanging
frequently.
around the right people if you haven't heard complaints.
Right.
Wow.
I mean, like, it's kind of a cool status with your friends, right? But like, there's some people that go, "Oh, you read manga. Oh, you watch anime." Like, it's a little bit lesser form. I've heard that multiple times in my life.
Wow.
Let's get some comments out here on this stuff.
I mean, they have the term weebs to like kind of make you feel like you're
I'm
wuss,
a
right?
proud weeb, so I don't care.
I am too.
Mike says that you're right, Scott, that WandaVision was the most Marvel or the most recent issue. The episode number 4 was the most Marvel movie-ish episode. They pretty much explained everything. They didn't explain everything, but they kind of gave it all away on this fourth.
But for the casual fans that weren't maybe like hanging on,
yeah,
it wasn't giving them enough.
It was killing them because
it gives you plenty.
It tells you what's going on, and it pretty much confirms everything that everyone who was paying attention said. And you know, I think it's too bad that no one has any attention spans anymore. They don't allow these things to develop. I mean, that's one of the great things about long form content is that you can allow things to breathe and tell a story instead of just cramming it down your throat. Walt says that the One Punch Man anime series is great. Scott, are you not aware of the anime series?
Wait, are you not?
No, I know there's an anime series. I just rather read the stuff.
I mean, I think that's what most people probably have seen is the One Punch Man.
I'd rather read it. I'm the guy that didn't go watch Dragon Ball. I specifically bought all the manga of Dragon Ball because I wanted to see it in its original form from the creator. I'm not talking about Dragon Ball Z. I'm talking about Dragon Ball. And so I read all those volumes of that because I just want, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Besides, I don't want to, me sitting around for hours reading feels different than me sitting watching TV because we all know I'm a weirdo about TV. So
you feel so much more productive.
I do. I feel like
I've
used my brain more and stuff. Yeah. Like I told myself I'm going to read the Dragon Ball Z series, but I haven't done it yet. I've only read the first 3 volumes.
That'll take you 18 years.
Well, there's 20 something volumes of that. So yeah, good.
Brendan says that he can hear the intro every time he sees that cover.
See, I don't know. I'll have to research
says
it.
One Punch Man is awesome. It is really good. You should watch one episode, see what you think.
Okay. What streaming service is on?
He says need to go do some squats and run 5K. It's been on just about everything at one point. I don't know where it is right now.
Well, we'll
tell Crunchyroll.
I want to say that it's on Netflix or Hulu though right now.
I'll find out.
Walt says he's heard people complain about manga and anime. Can we show a picture of Sean with long hair?
Sure.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Ready, CaseyJane?
Here it is.
Yes, it's on Netflix.
Hot Grandpa.
Oh my God, you did have long hair.
Look at that.
Grow it back. Do it.
That was the picture on the left. The picture is right before you got your haircut. Is that correct?
That was taken in the studio right before she pulled it back into a ponytail and went snip.
Grow it back.
Everybody
donated.
And I took the picture on the right. Sean was assisting me at one of the model shoots I was doing, and I said, "Why don't you get over here and I'll take a picture."
Whenever she cut it, everybody in the studio, you just heard this gasp.
You look like a young Rod Radcliffe, but I know you probably don't know who he is. He was a professor who taught art classes.
I've never heard
at Rose State.
I've never heard of that cat.
Oh well, I still remember. He's probably passed away.
One Punch Man is on Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon. So it's really whatever you're doing, it's there.
I might just pick up the second volume.
It's worth an episode is 20 minutes.
Yeah, just watch a episode. Just one.
You'll get hooked like the rest of it. It's pretty good.
I'll try.
Has everyone else done On Blast?
We're done.
I haven't done mine.
You're nothing. Never mind.
My On Blast is a movie called How It Ends, which is it's a Netflix movie. If you have seen the movie On the Road, or The Road, The Road by Cormac McCarthy, or read that book, you get a pretty good idea of kind of what this thing is. It's
depressing.
It's it is depressing. The whole movie is depressing. It absolutely focuses on the worst of human nature. How It Ends does the exact same thing. It's not necessarily a movie. Well, How It Ends actually has maybe a better ending than The Road, but a lot of people are very upset. I've read them, and they say that they have some problems with the way that the movie ended. So be aware that this is not a movie that either, hands you what's happening. So if you're one of those people that wants to know exactly what's happening and you want to be following the people that are going to solve the problem, like the scientists in 2012 that are solving the problems, you're not with those people. You're with two people that have no idea. Wow, we lost someone. You're not with those people. You're with people that have absolutely no idea whatsoever what's going on. And let me add Sean back into this thing. It's kind of a depressing movie. It has Theo James in it, who was from Divergent, and he's, I always complain about like actors or whatever that they keep hiring the same actors over and over again. Why are they not hiring Theo James for some stuff? He's a good-looking guy. He was good in this movie. He's got some acting chops. He could be doing a Marvel character or something. I think that he probably deserves a second look on stuff. It also has Forrest Whitaker, who is one of the best actors in Hollywood. And he plays this guy's, he plays the dad of his fiance. And Forrest Whitaker is awesome in everything he does. Anyway, it's called How It Ends. If you want a happy-go-lucky movie, then that's definitely not what this is. It's really about that journey to get out there from, I think they start out in maybe New Jersey or something, and then drive out to Seattle. And within 2 days, it kind of maybe too rapidly becomes kind of a Mad Max world where everyone just goes nuts. And, since then we've had the Backstreet Boys reunion tour, and we know that people don't go nuts. We know what they do is they buy a lot of toilet paper and they hang out at home and watch Netflix. That's what actually happens during a post-apocalyptic thing, at least in the first few days. And even though this is pretty crazy, I don't think it's so crazy that people would completely lose their ability to be, helpful human beings. But in any case, I enjoyed the movie. Some people are going to be very upset with the way it ends because it doesn't give you the whole routine. So that's my deal. What has happened to Scott? Is he still with us? Is he gone?
Scott's right there.
I'm right here.
Oh, okay. He's not resolving on my screen.
Yeah, I think we've had a little bit of technical issues all night. So,
Hello to Michael. How you doing?
Hey.
We've had technical issues. Maybe it's on my end.
You've frozen from my point of view a few times. So,
all right. Well,
who knows?
My
just keep rolling.
All right. Well, now we're going to go straight into promo time. So, because CaseyJane is our guest, we are going to her.
You can find me on twitch.tv/LittleMissFury and on Twitter and Instagram at Little Miss Fury. Plain and simple.
Oh my gosh, it was so quick.
I'm sorry.
There's Twitch.
They're all the same name. I'll be streaming
Instagram.
after this
Okay,
if anyone wants to come by.
That's true. And there's Twitter. There we go. There's all three of them.
Sorry, all my handles are the same.
No, that's exactly what everyone should be doing. It drives me bonkers that people are,
have all different things.
I'm going to come up with there's like 3 different things in 3 different places, and it's spelled different, and that drives me insane.
Yeah. Nope,
when you're trying to help people out. Okay, Sean, we're going to go to you, man. Where do people need to go to find your stuffs?
As usual, you can find me as well as my other studio mates at rankingstudios.com.
Yep.
You can also find us at Facebook /Ranking Studios.
There we are.
Feel free to stop on by, say hi, let us know what you're doing, what you're up to. And of course, always stop by Taskforce Geek to see anything new and exciting that we may have posted up there.
Yeah, our Taskforce Geek Facebook group, which I do not have ready to go, but it's on Facebook. Look for Taskforce Geek. We're right there. It's a very active group. A lot of good stuff going on there.
Yup.
Mang. All right, let's go to Scott.
All right, you can get a hold of me if you really need me. I'm over there at Twitter at Real Scott Prime. You can go listen to my podcast that comes out monthly over at bothdown.com, where we talk about Blood Bowl, but not necessarily the strategy. We talk about, the fluff of Blood Bowl, the role playing of Blood Bowl, if you're stuck with naming your teams or players and stuff like that. And we talk a little bit of tournaments and we talk a little bit of strategy, but it's mainly the sports role-playing aspect of the game that we love. There's over 100 episodes. We're on iTunes. Over at bothdown.com. You can find us, reach out to us, let us know what you think. And there you go.
And you're on Facebook too.
Of course we're on Facebook. I see it. It's right there. Boom.
It's right there. Who's got the comment here?
Of course I have the best
Michael
hat.
says you have the best hat.
Cobra. And it's not because I'm bald. It's because I'm freezing cold in this room. So once it hits summertime, hopefully I'll be back.
You control the heating around there, do you not? Or
I do, but I also pay the heating bill. So I might have money for Dragon Ball Super cards, but I do not have money for high electric bills. Come on.
I hear you. On my promo time stuff, I just kind of want to send people back over to Rain King Studios. We've been talking. We talked last week about some projects that we're doing for Super Show, but we're 4 artists who can do projects, or we can do stuff individually. We do illustrations, we could do covers, we could do character design, we could do it individually or as a group. I'd like to encourage you to go over there and check to see what we're doing over there. We're going to continue to add artwork and projects to that thing. But if you need 4 artists who will tackle a project, maybe you should consider getting in touch with us. That's what I got to say.
Yep.
So there it is. Does anyone else have anything that they want to say before we wrap this up?
If you haven't seen the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, has its trailer premiere today. Also opened up pre-orders if you're interested in such a thing.
A lot of news broke today.
Anybody that knows me knows that I absolutely love the Mass Effect series, and so yeah, I'll be pushing that as much as I possibly can.
It looks good. Hey, I want to encourage everyone who's watching this. This is not broadcasting on YouTube. We've had some issues with YouTube trying to help us out and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'll post it tomorrow. But hey, if you would go to the YouTube show, we'll put it out on Facebook and Twitter and every place that we're at, and just leave us a comment. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't care. Talk about Scott's hat, or whether ask Sean why he is called Commander or whatever, and leave us a comment on there, because YouTube is really putting a lot of emphasis on comments right now, and we could use your help over there. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe on YouTube. What else, guys? Thanks to the people who chimed in tonight. We had some new people. I appreciate that. We had someone from Twitch. I like that. That's
For
pretty
sure.
cool. A lot of people watching, probably because of CaseyJane.
That's okay.
Let's be honest. We've had a good following tonight. That's awesome. We do appreciate that. Okay, here's a comment. I knew someone would slip in with a comment. Steve says, "Great show. Thanks yet again." Yeah, share it. Please share Taskforce Geek all over the place. Just spam the hell out of it. We need some help, man. Help us out. Brian James says, Sean is one of the nicest men in the USA. USA. America. Thanks to the panel. Thanks to Sean. Thanks to Scott. Thanks to CaseyJane. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. We sure do appreciate it. Leave a like or share wherever you see this, and leave us some comments. We need them. Until next time, this is Dirk Cooper saying dream hard.